Hi, I'm Susanna and this is week 1 of Preptober. Today is Tuesday, October the 1st, so it's time to start working. If you missed my Preptober goals video, I'll link it here, but basically I have 2 goals for Preptober. The first is the 4th draft of Project Prehistory. I finished the major edits last week, but I still want to read the entire manuscript and then I'll let it rest before I start the 5th draft. And while I read Project Prehistory rest, I want to write a completely new novel in November. So that's my second goal for Preptober, is to plan and outline that new novel. So my plans for this week: yesterday on Monday, which technically was September, but let's count it as part of the first week of Preptober. Yesterday I read 2 chapters of Project Prehistory, chapters 8 and 9. Today, on Tuesday, my goal is to work on Preptober work the entire day, and in the evening I want to read 2 more chapters of Project Prehistory, chapters 10 and 11. On Wednesday I want to read also 2 chapters of Project Prehistory, chapters 12 and 13, and then on Thursday I plan to work the entire day reading Project Prehistory. My goal is to read 9 chapters, chapters 14 to 22. On Friday I want to read 2 more chapters of Project Prehistory, chapters 23 and 24, and then on Saturday I plan to work the entire day on Project Prehistory and hopefully read 6 more chapters, chapters 25 to 30, which would leave me 9 chapters for the next week. But like I said, today I start working on the new novel I'm planning to write in November, which is Pride and Prejudice retelling. I read Pride and Prejudice last July and I annotated it. I made a whole video on the annotation process. You can find it here. But now I'm going to go through this book and my annotations and write down the outline of this book, which will then form the basis of the outline of my retelling. So here's what I'm working with. I have Pride and Prejudice. I have the Save the Cat Writes a Novel as a reference, notebook, pen and pencil, music and water bottle. This is an old notebook that I used in high school for my German essays, so that's why there's Die Lorelei by Heinrich Heine. But I've already made a little table for what I'm planning to do. First there's a chapter number, and then there's percentage/beat, which refers to the Save the Cat beat sheet. Then there will be main contents of the chapter and any notes I have on that chapter, things like character development or small details that might give me ideas. And then ideas, which is whatever ideas I have for my retelling. I wrote myself a little post-it note with the beats from Save the Cat beat sheet and the page numbers where they should occur in Pride and Prejudice. And I have to say that so far they have been pretty accurate. For example, the theme stated should happen at around 5%, which out of the 262 pages in my edition of Pride and Prejudice should be on page 13, and what happens on page 14? A discussion on pride. working on this for 5.5 hours and I'm on page 182, which means that I still have about 80 pages left. I had hoped that I would finish this today, but unfortunately it seems like I have to continue next week because, like I said earlier in the video, I'm planning to work on Project Prehistory the rest of the week. So here's what I've done today. I filled out the main contents and the notes for the chapters, but I have not yet written down any of my own ideas. And I have notes for the first 45 chapters. But I still have 16 chapters left. It's Thursday, October the 3rd, and I'm working on Project Prehistory today. Originally, my goal was to read 7 chapters during the day and 2 chapters in the evening, but unfortunately I have to leave at 3 p.m. and it's 9 a.m. right now, so I only have 6 hours to work on Project Prehistory during the day. And that means that realistically I only have time to read 6 chapters. Luckily, yesterday evening I had time to read 3 chapters instead of the 2 that I had planned, so I'm 1 chapter ahead. So if I read 6 chapters during the day and 2 chapters in the evening, I'll be on schedule. So my goal now is to read chapters 15 to 20 before 3 p.m. and then I'll be at the midpoint. But I don't have any time to waste, so let's get to work. It's not yet noon and I've already read 3 chapters, so it's going pretty well. At this point I'm mostly deleting unnecessary words and sentences, but I'm also adding words and sometimes even sentences where necessary, so the word count basically stays the same. I'm gonna have some lunch and then continue reading. It's almost 3 p.m. and I've read 6 chapters, so goal accomplished. I've now read 20 chapters and I have 19 chapters left. I'll continue reading this evening and hopefully read 2 more chapters, and tomorrow on Friday I'll read 2 chapters and then hopefully on Saturday I'll read 6 chapters. At that point I will have read 30 chapters and then I have 9 chapters left for the next week. It's Saturday, October the 5th and I'm back to working on Project Prehistory. On Thursday evening I read chapters 21 and 22, and on Friday, yesterday, I read chapters 23 and 24. Today my goal is to read 6 more chapters 25 to 30. It's 9 a.m. and I hope to be done by 3 p.m. so I can start reading the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. So let's get to work. It's 3:30, so I didn't quite get done before 3 p.m, but I've now read 6 more chapters of Project Prehistory. I have to say that even though I worked on this draft for over 6 months, and I've made some of the edits several months ago. I have trouble evaluating the edits. As I'm reading the text, I note the changes that I've made, like, oh, I've added this or I've deleted that, but I can't tell if the changes are good. Like, I think they must be, that's why I've made them, but it's like I can't see the forest from the trees. So it's definitely time to put this draft aside for a while, so I can look at it later with fresh eyes. Anyway, I'm ending the vlog here. I'm not planning to do any Preptobering tomorrow. Week 1 of Preptober was quite successful. I'm on schedule with Project Prehistory. I've read 30 chapters out of 39. I did not quite get done everything I wanted to do with the Pride and Prejudice retelling, but I have almost 4 weeks to concentrate on that, so I'm not worried about it. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you next week for week 2 of Preptober.